Is the Fraser microphone actually a good vocal microphone? Is that compressor from the 90s that was like a dime a dozen back then, is that actually maybe the best bang for the buck outboard compressor you can buy today? Are Megami cables still kind of a waste of money? Let's get into it. Overrated, underrated. This is episode 3. All right, everybody, welcome back in. Join me here in my Reverb feed. As you can see from my scrolling here, that it is full of pro audio equipment and also a desk. That's fair. I am actually looking for a new desk. But the rules to this are simple. If I've got experience using whatever it is that I am scrolling by, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to let you know if I think that it's overrated or underrated, and I'll also give it a special shout out if it's actually priced well. So if you are looking for some new gear, some stuff that just flies under the radar a little bit, this is a great way to be introduced to some stuff. So let's go ahead and jump on in. A great start. Okay. Electro Voice RE20. That sounded kind of Texas. Electro Voice. But these are great microphones. Underrated. I'm just going to get that out there right off the bat. So as a kick drum microphone, which a lot of people think of this microphone as a kick mic, it's okay. It's not my top choice. I typically like the Audix D6, the Shure Beta 52, I think. Those are more of my preference, but for kick, it works well. It does the job. For bass cab, it's a strong preference. I actually really like this on a bass cab. But where I think it's actually underrated, vocal mic. Guitar amp microphone. I actually spoke about it a little bit in the guitar amp miking video that I just released a couple days ago. The RE20, like, keep in mind that like Electro Voice, when they created this microphone, they wanted to create a dynamic microphone that still had the same clarity and detail as like a condenser microphone or something that could compete with modern day condenser mics. And so for a dynamic microphone, the detail and the clarity and the nuance, especially on the top end, is there, and it's really good. With that being said, as a vocal mic, the top end either works or it just doesn't. So you got to try it for yourself to figure out if this is something that's going to work for you. As a vocal mic, I've seen it being used by Tom York of Radiohead, Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder. Like, it's not uncommon to see this microphone used as a vocal mic, but let's be totally honest. Although it's great to see those pros using those mics, there's only one pro that I think of when I think of the RE20, and that's Fraser. So let's be honest. If it's good enough for Fraser, it's good enough for me. All right, let's move on. Underrated. Okay, this one's good. It's good in this. It's gonna inspire conversation at least, so that's good about it. Tascam 424 Mark II. The gray ones are the Mark II, and then the blue ones, which are the ones that I grew up having access to, I think that's the Mark III. Oh God. Okay, I'm conflicted. So let me tell you about my confliction that I'm experiencing. $600. It feels predatory. And the reason why these things are being priced this high, it's not because as a piece of recording equipment, people are really valuing the sound. They're using it as like a guitar pedal. And the reason why they're doing that is because this one guy, MkGee, who is great. He is great. He is very inventive. But the thing that's so special about MkGee using this is that he created a sound that was entirely his own. But of course, just like anything that's used by one person, one persona, they'll make it famous, and then a lot of people will want that to kind of copycat the sound. So the reason why he uses these, by the way, is the preamps in there are known for distorting the second you cross over the threshold of, like, you know, whatever it is. As soon as it crosses that threshold, it goes from like decently clean and somewhat warm to absolute hairy, distorted, just destroyed signal. And so he uses that sound as a guitar effect. So when he plays lightly, it stays clean. But the second he starts digging in, it really starts to bite down and just give it just hair. As a sound, I think it's interesting, but like honestly, as a recording device, I have such an appeal to nostalgia for this. Like the first few recordings that I ever made, I was daisy chaining like a bigger mixer into you know, like taking 4 tracks and mixing that down into like 2 stereo tracks and sending it into channel 1 and channel 2. And then I would take another mixer and I would use like 6 or 7 tracks and I would send that out to the stereo output and put it on the inputs of 3 and 4. And then that way I was making essentially like a multi-track recording, but just taking it down to like 2 stereo buses. And so like the appeal to nostalgia is there for me. And so that was like a lot of fun. And it's like my early experience of recording and just being a little mad scientist in my bedroom and garage and like, you know, spare room of my drummer's house as we were trying to figure out how to get a drum recording, you know? So like for that, I love these things. They do have a sound that's actually pretty cool. I have one somewhere. It's in a box in storage in the unfinished part of my basement. They're cool. I used it actually when I was working on a mastering project for a client, and they wanted me to get a vintage sound, and I was like, why don't I just send the mix to the Tascam? And it actually worked great. So. Okay, so these things, underrated, but $600 sucks. So underrated, but not at that price. They'd be underrated at $200, $150. Oh man, $150 is probably what I would be comfortable paying for one of these. At $600 is just predatory, and that sucks. So what a complex rating. Okay, moving on. Okay, these are fun. DBX 160X. The X is interesting. So some of the DBX 160s, the 160X, maybe the XT, I don't remember specifically. Somebody knows, like drop it down below. These are awesome. I really like these compressors. They were kind of a dime a dozen compressor back in the day. Like in the first studio that I interned at, we had like, I think it was 8 channels of the DBX 160s, and they were like 160As, 160X, 160XT, kind of like a mix. And a few of them had transformers, and whenever you like pushed into it, it actually crunched up the signal just a touch. Like mostly these things are neutral. They have a really nice sound to them though. And if you get the ones with the transformers, they give it just a little extra, some like oomph to it, which is really nice. This price is really good. $229.99. That's about what they go for. But honestly, if you find it less than $200, it would be even better. But $229 is not bad. People are finding out about these. The secret's out, and people are buying these up. I've even now started seeing plug-in emulations of this box, which when that starts to happen, that's when you know the hardware units are just going to be jacked up. So let's look at the description of this. Oh, church-owned gear. That's kind of cool. Most of our gear comes out of church environments where it was never traveled or toured. That's why I say it's cool. Lived its life in one spot inside climate-controlled environment. Gear from church gear should last much longer. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to get these things to mess up. Like, these are built extremely well, but nonetheless. Yeah, excuse me real quick. I'm just going to do that. Okay. All right, we're just going to save that there. That might be for me. You know. Real quick, 10,000 of you have subscribed to this channel. My mind is blown, and I'm actually having a hard time with finding the words to express it other than thanks. It really does mean a lot. Like, I'm being very genuine when I say that. Like, thank you very much. And if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps out the channel much more than you might think that it does. So let's just get back into it. Okay, moving right along. Yeah, these things are cool. I had one of these for a while and loved it. Used it on Master Bus for many recordings, or if not master bus, at least like the instrument 2 bus of like the master bus. Like I would send everything through this. SSL Ultraviolet, great. Underrated. These things are pretty killer. That price is a little high, 800. I think new, they cost like 600-ish. I'll post new links down below because 800's high. But yeah, these things are great. Oh, I think actually this is, yeah. Okay, so this is a listing for both the radial 6-pack workhorse and also the SSL. I don't know anything about the radial workhorse, although that's kind of cool. They know that you're going to set up a 500 series box like a channel strip, and so they give you these to just feed one into the other, so you can just build up a little 500 series channel strip. That's kind of cool. I like that. I don't have any experience using it, but I'm sure it's fine. Radial makes good stuff. And the SSL Ultraviolet EQ is honestly a great EQ. The Ultraviolet EQ was in one of their like bigger like hardware boxes, and it actually received so much praise that they decided to take it out of just that one hardware series thing. And I think it might have just been the high shelf and low shelf or something like that. And they made it a full stereo EQ and then put it in 500 series form. Honestly, really good. I liked it a lot. I would use it on a drum bus. It would add some really good energy on just the mix bus for the instrumentation. It was just so good. One of the things that I like to do is mix down all of the instruments to one bus and then mix down all the vocals to a different bus. That way, if I need to, I can actually kind of carve out a little bit of space for the vocals to just kind of sit nicely in the mix. That's kind of an old school trick, but yeah, using the SSL EQ as the EQ to do that was always a great way to do it. And then also just to sweeten up the low end and high end. SSL EQ, Ultraviolet, underrated. Fantastic. All right, moving on. Oh, gross. Okay. I don't like these. Listen, I need to say this. If you have this and you're excited about it, I'm excited for you. This is just my opinion. That's all this is. Audio-Technica AT897. Not a fan. Not a fan. There's something about Audio-Technica stuff. I don't hate everything they make, by the way. I have no brand loyalty one way or another. But the Audio-Technica stuff, it can sound brittle and harsh. And this microphone is no stranger to that sound. I have used this exact microphone on like indie films and stuff like that, and I've gotten the audio and I was just like, oh, like, okay, this makes my job harder. And so I'd have to figure out a sound and how to get the sound to sound right in each individual room that was filmed in, because it created individual problems. And for me, like, I get it, it's inexpensive, $236, but like at that price, you've got better options. Like, for just a little bit more, you could get like the Rode, the MkGee microphones. Those are really good. Another Rode microphone that I actually use a lot on this channel is this guy right here. This is the Rode Video Mic MkGee, which is like powered by a rechargeable USB battery, and it's got like a little preamp built in, and then it just hooks up directly to your camera through that little. It looks like a headphone output. It's actually a TRRS cable. But that microphone sounds better than the Audio-Technica, and it would be about the same price. So I'll drop a link to that one down below, because this one is overrated. I do not even believe that frequency response graph. That does not seem right to me based on what I've heard, but again, I don't like it. Well, actually it might be, because it's boosted around, what is that, like 6-7K? And the boost that's around that area is not an insignificant boost. It makes everything really brittle, harsh. If anybody has any S's or T's in their speech, which we all do, it makes things sound really bad. Okay, overrated. Moving on. Okay, here's another better use of your money for the price, if you can find it. Now, this is for a pair, so keep that in mind. This is for a pair. This is not for a single microphone. But Vintage Oktava the MC012s or the MK012s. Oktava microphones, these are really special. Actually, I might want to add these to my cart too. I don't have that much money right now, but like these are so good. Okay. I had a 1990s Oktava that was, I don't think it was Russian made. I think it was just like the more newer versions that they make now. But it quickly became a favorite for miking up a lot of like acoustic instruments, and it actually works really well as a room mic. Actually, special shout out. I know I shouted out Steve Albini in my last video, but I'm going to do it again because that dude's amazing. And again, if you don't know him, you should. I have it from very good authority from somebody that worked with Steve Albini, who also shows up in the comments here. Nick, if you're watching, hey buddy. That Steve Albini actually used these as room mics because of that low-end response that they have. The low-end response on these Oktava mics is otherworldly. Like, you plug these things in and you do not expect to get the low end that you do out of them, but they actually sound so good. I've used it on a snare with a little pad that they come with. Some of them come with. I've used them as drum mics. I think I used it as a mono overhead once, and it actually sounded great. Acoustic guitar, fantastic. It pointed at something. It will sound good. These are not bad microphones at all. And honestly, if you're looking for like an overhead dialogue mic, like something like that, there's a lot of people that actually use the newer versions of the MK012 as their main video dialogue mic. They sound great. Underrated. And for a vintage Russian-made pair, which some people will consider a much higher quality, $435 is actually a really good price. You get a lot for your money with these mics. So great. Moving on. Okay, kind of in that same world of small diaphragm condensers. I don't talk a lot about small diaphragm condensers. They don't pop up as much. I'm glad they're popping up now. I like small diaphragm condensers for a lot of stuff. Okay, Warm Audio WA84. Small diaphragm condenser. These are Warm Audio's take on the K84s or KM84s by Neumann, which the Neumann microphones, as Neumann microphones tend to be, are quite expensive. The Warm Audio versions, it's one of those things. What Warm Audio does with their marketing is they love to give you this idea that it's either just as good or it's 95% of the way there. And with most of their stuff, I'm going to say that's just not true. That's just marketing. With the W84s, it's not really quite the KM84s, the Neumann 84s. It's not that. It doesn't have exactly the same character. It's different, but these are fantastic and will still get you 90 to 95% of the way there. These are great. Maybe not that high, the percentage of the way there. With a lot of the Warm Audio stuff, I know I made a lot of people mad in my first version of this video series that I made. I talked about their Warm Audio WA73, and I say that's overrated, and I stand by it. I don't like it that much. Their microphones are hit or miss. Like the Warm Audio take on the U47 sounds nice, but it does not really sound like a U47. And then same kind of deal with this. Like the WA84s, they sound really good. I don't know if I would call it a KM84 like replacement or one for one or even something that gets you right in that ballpark, but they sound really good. And for the price that they are, I'm going to call it underrated. These are underrated. I think they sound good. So there you go, Warm Audio people. I don't hate everything that they do. And like another quick note on brand loyalty. That is the fastest way to find yourself in a pigeonhole and falling for marketing. Like, these companies want you to be extremely brand loyal to them. And there's companies that I like, and there's companies that do a lot of stuff that I like. Like, for example, like Black Lion Audio, which, you know, I've got their preamp on my desk right here too. Like, Black Lion Audio makes a lot of really good stuff, but I don't love everything that Black Lion Audio makes. But the stuff that I like of theirs, I'll give a shout out to all day. But it doesn't mean that like everything that they make, I'm going to be a fan of. Like, don't be that guy, because you're just going to end up being a walking poster child for a company. That's not going to do you any favors. That's not developing a personal taste. That's just you saying, I really like this marketing. That's really what that shows. So don't be brand loyal. Just find stuff that you like that sounds good and try as hard as you can to ignore the brand label on the front, for better or for worse. If you like a Squier guitar, but you kind of cringe at the idea of a Squier, try not to cringe at the idea of a Squier. Some Squiers do just sound good. They do. Same kind of deal with microphones. If you hate Warm Audio, don't cringe at the Warm Audio branding on here. Like, it's fine. Some of the stuff they make sounds good. Okay, moving on. This is going to be the last one. And what a good one it is. Oh, God. Okay, Yamaha PM2000. If anybody wants to buy me a console, this is my first choice. Listen, a Neve console would be great, but oh my God, I don't have $100,000 or $80,000 or however much a Neve console costs these days. An API console would be great. A Trident console would be great, of course, but the Yamaha PM2000 from the 70s is one of the most underrated consoles in history, maybe. I know that's such a strong statement. Let me tell you about my experience with this. The first studio that I interned at was a project studio that was like a detached like casita, like in someone's backyard, and they had built up their studio, and they had this console and just like a bunch of like outboard gear. And the thing that was really ridiculous about this console was the preamps that are built into this console are absolutely phenomenal. And there were times where we would have a shootout between like a BAE 1073 and the Yamaha PM2000, and would strongly prefer the Yamaha PM2000 built-in preamp. Many of those shootouts, most of them, the PM2000 would win. They're that good. They really are. The routing is fantastic. They're built like tanks. People used to call these the Japanese, which I don't know how I feel about that terminology, but like, I think these things are fantastic. They're just absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Underrated. If I had $16,000 right now, I would click on that, buy it now. Yeah, rare find. These don't show up often. Man. If you're looking, you know what this is. Yup, I agree. Okay. Oh, yeah, just needing a new workflow with a baby at home. Time is money, and these boards take more time than I have to give them right now. That's the thing about recording consoles, is like maintenance. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that cabling. God, it's a thing of beauty and a thing of terror, but also look at all those transformers that are in there too. Like, yeah, these are phenomenal consoles. God, they sound so good. Yeah, if I ever get to a point of where I'm actually building up like a full-blown studio, this is likely to be my centerpiece. It's, God, these things are amazing. I miss working on the one that I did. Also, quick note on all the cabling there. You know how, like, in the last version of the Underrated, Overrated, I talked about the Mogami cables, the gold cables, and a lot of people got upset because I stand by it. I don't think a gold cable will increase the quality of your audio. Sure, could it be better built for shielding? Yeah, and that could matter if you're running longer cable distances, like more than 20 feet. Sure, yeah. Or longevity. Absolutely. But like when I think about it, I'm like, okay, so like if you have a gold cable, look at the miles of cable that exist inside of these consoles and how much cabling this is going to go through. Do you really think it's going to make that much of a difference if that last 10 feet is gold? No, of course not. These things sound incredible, and there is not a single gold-plated cable in here. It's all just copper. And then the second thing I'll say is copper actually conducts better than gold. That's another thing that people, I think, just get a little bit lost in. Gold is not some superior conductor. It actually doesn't conduct as well. The only thing that it offers is corrosion resistance. It doesn't offer anything that would increase the quality of your audio. So for everybody who's like, oh, I use, gold cables and I hear a difference in my high end, you're hearing a difference in proximity effect. There is zero difference with your audio quality in gold cabling. So, okay, that should stir the pot a little bit there. Nice little closing notes. Yamaha PM2000, underrated. If you get a chance to ever own one of these, God, I would recommend it. And I'm also going to regret telling everybody how good these things are because I want one eventually, and I'm hoping that the price does not go up anymore because these things are awesome. Okay. If you got something out of this video, you know what to do. I've got all these buttons that are down below. The more you click those buttons, the more you see my wonderful face showing up on your feed. If you haven't subscribed yet, I still don't know what you're doing with your life. For those that have subscribed, the 10,000 plus of you now, which blows my mind, by the way. I can't believe I had 10,000 people click the subscribe button. Thank you so much. It matters more to this channel than you might realize it does. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe. It helps out so much. Click the like, drop a comment below, start the discussion. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.